The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots met earlier this season at Foxborough in New England, just a few weeks ago before the bye week with the Miami Dolphins took place on week 6. How did the Patriots and the Dolphins play this one? It's time to find out on the exciting finale conclusion of Dolphins post game. Patriots, Dolphins, let's get rolling on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches. Let's go. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Dolphins Nation, has the season been revived? Patriots Nation, the clock is ticking. Whatever the fan base you are, welcome in to Dolphins post game on the ice and behind the benches, and of course, Sports for Beginners, the podcast. I am Thomas McGregor, the host of Dolphins post game. And with 6 weeks nearly in the books, it's time to get the Dolphins and Patriots ready for the road ahead as both teams prepare for takeoff or off season if the postseason meets their needs. Postseason is just 6 weeks away, which means we only have 6 weeks of football left. Let's break down everything from the Patriots and the Dolphins. And of course, we get things started with our head coaches. Of course, Mike McDaniel is also quarterbacked by Tua Tagovailoa. And the New England Patriots is head coach. Well, I mean, the New England Patriots fans, you know who the head coach is. I don't need to tell you who it is, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So it isn't Belichick anymore, but of course, we all knew that. Say hello to Droid Mayo. Droid Mayo, your new head coach of the New England Patriots. Of course, that's J Mayo with the J instead of a D. That is J Mayo. Apologies, Mr. Mayo, if I cannot say your first name right in terms of pronunciation. They would be led by the quarterback in Drake May, who would also see the quarterback in a wide receiver. This never happens in NFL history, but it would be Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne would take over Drake May's addition. He would take over and he would be a part of the quarterback matchup. All right, the quarterback's out of the way. Time now to get serious. Time now to get into our game breakdown. But before we get into that, let's take a break and get a word from on both platforms, each station from On the Ice and Behind the Benches and on Sports for Beginners. Coming up when we continue, we're getting right into it. And we've got our Week 12 recap to get into as well as some game balls of the game. Is there a victory speech for the Dolphins? We'll see what we can gather there. We'll also take a look, if there's time, at the AFC East and NFC East is divisions, or rather the playoff race for those teams' divisions, and give you the meats and potatoes before we set up Dolphins and Patriots next games to finish off the program. Just before we take that break, though, a reminder to all of the fans of football who are on the bye week. The Cincinnati Bengals on the bye week this week. The Buffalo Bills on the bye week as well. But of course, Bills Mafia, you already knew that after winning against the Kansas City Chiefs, handing them their first ever loss of the season. Congratulations to you on that. The Atlanta Falcons also on this week's bye week, as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, and the New Orleans Saints. So those were the teams on the bye week, consisting of the New Orleans Saints, the New York Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Atlanta Falcons, the Buffalo Bills, and the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, a word from both stations on sports for beginners and on the ice and behind the benches. And then it's the game breakdown time for Dolphins and Patriots. The season finale series match between the Dolphins and the Patriots. Coming right up when we continue on Dolphins Post Game. Stick with us.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
So a 4-6 Miami Dolphins team enters a 3-8 team like the New England Patriots, who aren't doing very well themselves. But again, the Patriots and the Dolphins met earlier in this season, just before the Dolphins bye week, where they ended up beating the Patriots 15-10. Welcome back in the Dolphins post game. My name is Thomas McGregor, the host of the program. We revealed the head coaches to you in Mike McDaniel and, of course, Jeroid Mayo, which of course is J Mayo for short. I'm gonna call him J Mayo for short. Suggest this could have been a blowout game for the Miami Dolphins, and I kind of think that is kind of how things went. Let's break down the game for you, okay? Let's break it down. Here's the game breakdown. It all starts with Tua passing short middle to Juno Smith, or Jono Smith for a 7-yard touchdown. Jason Sanders, the kicker, up and good. It is 7-0 in favor of the Miami Dolphins over the Patriots. Next time Tua and the Miami Dolphins have the ball, Tua passes short to Devon Chain. This time it's 28 yards. It's 28 yards for a 9-yard touchdown to Devon Chain on a short left to Devon Chain for 9 yards. Sanders' kick is up. It's good. And Jason Sanders and the Miami Dolphins are now up 14-0 over the Patriots. Things are getting really, really in the Miami Dolphins' favor now. 1 minute 50 seconds to go in the second half, first quarter of the first half. Well, I really should say the second quarter of the first half, as nothing happened in the very first quarter of the first half. So first half quarter, a minute 50, Tua with the ball again for the Miami Dolphins. This one short right, Devon Chain again. This time it's 11-yard touchdown for Devon Chain. The pass by Sanders, up and good, of a kick, I should say. The kick by Sanders, up and good. And it's now 21 Dolphins to, well, the Patriots nothing. But we all know what the Patriots score is. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. The Patriots trying their hardest to force Miami to get something smaller this time. Will they do it? Yes, they will. It'll be a 46-yard field goal attempt, 21-yard field goal attempt for Jason Sanders. He nails it from 46 yards. Addington and Bailey, the holder and center, and they would help a 7-play, 56 yards, and a minute 26 possession time take the lead into half, 24-0 for the Miami Dolphins. So not a lot of things happened in the first quarter, but in the second quarter, the Miami Dolphins came out hot, and they came out with some goals to score. If you're talking hockey, Patriots would be down 24 points to the Dolphins is 24, and there's 0 on the board heading into the second half of action, with Tua leading the charge for the Dolphins at 24 points to 0 over the Patriots. Second quarter rolls around. I should say third quarter, second half rolls around. The second half rolls around, and the third quarter rolls around. But all it is a minute 37 from Tua Tagovailoa, and a pass to number 17 Jalen Waddle, short middle for 23 yards. Jason Sanders' kick is up. He's been really, really good in this game, and it is now 31 Miami Dolphins to 0 Patriots. So another couple of zeros on the board for the New England Patriots. 0 in the first period, 0 in the second period, and 0 in the third period. What will happen in the second half quarter of play, the last quarter of play, the fourth quarter? Drake Maye comes in and says, all right, that's enough. Passes deep down the middle. This one, it connects to Hopper for a 38-yard touchdown. The kicker from the New England Patriots kick is up, and it is good. And now the Patriots, still needing a lot more points, are up on the board, and they have 7 points to their early zeros, but the Dolphins still have a 31 to 7 lead on them, so they're still up big, but this time only up big by 24 points. So this time the Dolphins lead has been cut to 24 lead. All right, let's keep it going. The New England Patriots guys say our crowd is now into it. Let's keep it going. 10-10 to go in the fourth quarter. 3 yards and 15 plus. A fumble by the Dolphins, I believe, is recovered by Gonzalez on the New England 37-yard line. And Gonzalez for 63 yards goes all the way, makes a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion is also successful as Drake Maye passes to Stevenson. It is complete. 2-point conversion is successful, and we've got a brand new football game approaching us. It is now the Dolphins 31 to the New England Patriots 15, which means the Patriots with 15 points are now only down by 16 points. But no need to fret, no need to get scared, no need to be scared. You've had a big lead leading up to the fourth quarter. So why don't you just run out the clock, Miami, and send in your kicker, Jason Sanders, to seal the deal. This one from 51 yards, 3 minutes and 38 seconds time of the play, and the kick is up from the holder Bailey and the center in Addington, and the Dolphins would come out to win this game 34 to 15. All right, the game breakdown is just halfway done here on Dolphins Post Game. We're going to get into our game balls of the game coming up in just a few minutes time, but before we get to any of that, let's hear from the locker room of the Miami Dolphins Nation, and hear what Mike McDaniel and his family of the Miami Dolphins getting the victory against the New England Patriots had to say after their victory, their big victory, this afternoon on Sunday, November 24th, 2024. And then we'll get into our game stats before we take out our timeout. And we'll actually take that timeout after the victory speech and get into our game stats with the game balls of the game still to come. Our week 12 recap as well. And then we'll be preparing you for Patriots and Dolphins next matchups, as well as the Buffalo Bills and the teams on the bye weeks next matchups as well. All of that still to come. All right, head coach Mike McDaniel in the Miami Dolphins locker room. I leave the call to you. Let's hear what you guys had to say after a 34-15 win over the New England Patriots. Coach, take it away.
It's been a tough season for us, but what it's made us is stronger and a better team together. And we're about to go on a small local television game on Thursday night. No, wait, it is the game of national televised games, Thursday night football, Thanksgiving. So it's cool. Very proud of this game. Enjoy it for tonight. Yes, we checked that box. That was the expectation. Like, we're flexing right now on who we are. Okay, and that's when you find out. Not when everything's good, but when teams go through tough times, and we've responded exactly like I thought we would.
It's a good fucking feeling. But it don't mean nothing if we don't get this next one. This next one's everything. It's mental fucking toughness. Thanksgiving football, prime time. We need this. We need this one. Whatever it takes. Family on three. 1, 2, 3.
Family on three. 1, 2, 3, family. All right. Game stats coming up when Dolphins post game continues. And the game balls of the game still to come. Week 12 recap as well. All of that when Dolphins post game continues. You're listening to Dolphins football on the ice and behind the benches, and for beginners. Back in a few minutes. Let's go.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
The Dolphins are now 5-6 on the season. The Patriots are now 3-9 on the season. We are in the midway mark portion of the Dolphins post-game show. We heard from head coach Mike McDaniel. Now it's time to get into the locker room. Or I should say it is time now to get into the game stats, as we've heard from the locker room of the Miami Dolphins. Of course, they are winners against the Patriots in this one. The Patriots coming into week number 13 after falling to now the Dolphins and the LA Rams the previous week, week 11, 28-22, are hoping to get right on week number 13th of the season against the Indianapolis Colts before getting ready to face the Buffalo Bills and the teams of conversation we'll be mentioning in just a few minutes' time when it's time to wrap this show up and figure out what's next for the Patriots, what's next for the Miami Dolphins, the remainder of the season. Also, as we get into the game stats, I do want to encouragingly say to all of the Dolphins Nation, and of course, as it is just a regular Monday for the New England Patriots and nothing more, the things are going good now for the Miami Dolphins fans. So fins up, and happy Victory Monday to you, Dolphins Nation. I know I could have said that earlier in the program, as it is a club dub edition of Dolphins postgame, but I thought it only better to wait till we heard from the head coach Mike McDaniel and then tell you it's happy Victory Monday for you, for Dolphins Post Game on Sports for Beginners, and of course on the ice and behind the benches. Get to the game stats here. We've got the 27.56 possession time of the Patriots. Of course, that's 27 minutes and 56 seconds. Time of possession for the New England Patriots. For the Miami Dolphins, they had the ball for like 32 minutes and 4 seconds, equaling to 23 first downs for the Miami Dolphins. They had 23 first downs, the Miami Dolphins, 19 of them passing, 2 of them rushing, and of course, 2 of them as a penalty. And the same could be said for the New England Patriots. 2 of them first downs come on a penalty, and 4 of them come on the rushing for the New England Patriots. 8 of them come on passing for the Patriots, and 14 of them are in total the first downs for your New England Patriots. We speak about the first downs, but when you talk about them on third down efficiency, or rather fourth down efficiency, the Patriots converted once on fourth down on just 3 tries, but converted just 3 times out of 14 on third down efficiencies. The Miami Dolphins didn't see fourth down chances as fourth down efficiency, but they did have 4 chances converting on third down efficiency out of the 12 chances they had on the third down efficiency tries. So they had 12 chances and they converted 4 chances on 4 of those chances they had on third down. They converted just 4 times out of 12. Miami has 1 interception yards. So when you talk about touchdowns and you talk about interceptions, it seems as though the Patriots turned over the ball 2 times, but the Miami Dolphins turned over the ball only once, receiving just 3 penalties out of 17 penalties that they could have been given. The Patriots, on the other hand, received 10 penalties out of the 75 they could have gotten. The goal to go efficiency, nothing to be here said for the New England Patriots as well as the red zone, but the Miami Dolphins were able to get 2 chances convert on goal to go efficiency out of 3 chances they had. They got 4 chances to convert in the red zone, converted on just 3 of those tries in the red zone, and they converted. Both teams fumbled the ball and recovered. The Miami Dolphins recovered one of their fumbles and lost their fumble, but so did the Patriots. They fumbled the ball and recovered it. In terms of touchdowns, the Miami Dolphins scored 4 touchdowns to the Patriots only 1 touchdown, and of course, those came on the air plays from the passing game. No rushing game to speak of. No defensive special teams to speak of as well. The Dolphins returned the ball for 15 yards in just 2 punts that the Patriots give them. One of those punts was for 15 yards. And while the Miami Dolphins also punted the ball 3 times to the Patriots, they were able to return the ball for 38 yards. 38 yards. Okay, but Thomas, how did the Dolphins and the Patriots get the yardage that you're speaking about? How did they get their yardage? Well, let's talk about their total yardage and talk about it from the passing game to the rushing game. We'll start with the rushing game. And the Miami Dolphins got 65 rushing yards for a total of 24 rushes, an average of 2.7 yards per carry on the rush, 4.1 yards per carry for the New England Patriots in just 21 rushes for a total of 86 rushing yards. So 86 rushing yards for the New England Patriots, 65 rushing yards for the Miami Dolphins. Both quarterbacks, the Patriots and the Miami Dolphins quarterbacks in Drake and Tua, were sacked. For Tua, he got sacked for a loss of 9 yards 2 times. for the New England Patriots quarterback in Drake, he got sacked for a total of 39 yards, but he didn't get sacked 2 times. He got sacked at least 4 times for a loss of 39 yards. So a loss of 39 yards on 4 sacks, an average yards per pass of 4.4 for him, an average 7.3 yards per pass for Tua and the Miami Dolphins. Tua made 29 completions out of 40 completion attempts. So he made 29 passes out of 40 completion attempts. Drake made 22 completed passes out of 38, all for a total passing yards of 222 passing yards for the New England Patriots and 317 passing yards for the Miami Dolphins. In just 63 plays, yards per play for both the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins on the New England Patriots side, with 63 plays called, were an average of 4.3 yards a carry. And for the Miami Dolphins, it was 5.7 for a yardage carry of 66 plays, would total up our total yards for the Miami Dolphins in this game of 373 yards to the New England Patriots 269 yards. Right, so that's the game stats for Week 12's Dolphins and Patriots game. We're getting into our game ball segment in just a few minutes' time, but let's take a look at some of the action that's gone on in Week 12 so far this game. Of course, we've got Sunday Night Football coming up for you with the Philadelphia Eagles fly against the LA Rams on NBC at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Then Week 12 wraps up with a matchup between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens as they take on the Los Angeles Chargers in Los Angeles. Of course, that game at 8:15 on Monday night. Let's start this Week 12 recap of a brief recaps looking at the primetime games that has already happened on Thursday Night Football and take you into Cleveland to start things off with the now 3-8 Cleveland Browns against the now 8-3 Pittsburgh Steelers, with the Steelers hoping to avoid an 8-2 record, going to 8-3, as they would go to a 9-2 record to be tied with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East, or rather AFC Conference, with a 9-2 record of 9 wins and 2 losses. Not the case with Cleveland, getting the victory 24-19. Their record was 2-8 on the season. Their record now, heading into Week 13, is 3-8 on the season. Blowout City or overtime, knock knock for the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears, as they would finish with the same score as one of our other games we're talking about in Week 12, with Kansas City picking up their 10th win of the season on just a one loss to the Buffalo Bills last week, with a 30-27 final over the Carolina Panthers. And of course, the Minnesota Vikings improved to 9-2 on the season, with the Chicago Bears falling 4-7 on the season with their record, as they lose in overtime to the Minnesota Vikings 30-27. Tennessee Titans and Locked On Titans, Tyler Rowland. I know you love what people say about your content. I love the content that you provide on Tennessee Titans Locked On, especially the Locked On Podcast Network of the NFL. With your morning show, I try to tune into it as well. Let's talk about your Titans as they come up big in this one. 32-27. Tennessee Titans over the Houston Texans. Talk about a much needed win for the Tennessee Titans. And on a Sunday afternoon in Houston, no less, their record 3-8. The Houston Texans record 7-5. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins, with the Patriots and their team of conversation for the Buccaneers in the New York Giants. Traded leads where the score would be scoreless with one team having points while the other team had zeros on the board, and they would come out to beat the Giants 30-7, just like the Dolphins would come out to beat the Patriots 34-15. The Dallas Cowboys came back and came back in a big way against the Washington Commanders, 34-26, the final there in Washington. Still a couple of games left to go on the Sunday slate, including games with a 31-10 Green Bay Packers leading the San Francisco 49ers 31-10 in that game that's currently in the fourth quarter right now. And of course, wrapping up in the fourth quarter right now with just 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go, it's a 26-19 Denver Broncos lead over the Las Vegas Raiders. And wrapping up in just 8 minutes and 8 seconds, we've got the Seattle Seahawks hosting the Arizona Cardinals with their lead 13-6 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. And still to come tonight on the primetime games, we've got NBC action with the Philadelphia Eagles and the LA Rams. And as we mentioned, week 12 wraps up with Baltimore Ravens action against the Los Angeles Chargers. The start times of those games, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time at SoFi Stadium against the LA Rams and the Eagles of conversation. That's SoFi Stadium, 8:20 Eastern Time for the LA Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. And that is for the Chargers, 8:15 Eastern Time start against the Baltimore Ravens in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Both teams in the same stadium hosting different teams. Lamar Jackson is playing host to the Los Angeles Chargers as the road team for the Baltimore Ravens, and the Chargers are playing host of the Baltimore Ravens, as well as the Rams are playing host of the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Take another look at the Week 12 recap in just a little bit, but that wraps up the Week 12 recap for now. Of course, the 4 o'clock games getting close to the finish line right now with the scores as mentioned. 26-19, the Broncos lead the Raiders 26-19. The Arizona Cardinals are trailing the Seattle Seahawks at 13-6. And we've got 31-10 now for the San Francisco 49ers over the Green Bay Packers, with the Green Bay Packers out in front. Let's take another time out at Dolphins Post Game and get ready to wrap things up. It is the Dolphins and the Patriots right here on Sports for Beginners, the topic of conversation for Dolphins Post Game. But what's next for the Dolphins and the Patriots? That's coming up next. But before we get there, when we return to Dolphins Post Game, it's the game balls of the game for both the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. And one little look in to see where the Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers, the Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, and of course the Las Vegas Raiders games are, if they have already finished. That plus what's next for the teams that are on the bye week this week for week number 13, all coming up when Dolphins Post Game continues. Stick with me and be sure to stick with us.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Hi, everyone. Scott McGregor here. Oh, what's that? What's that? Do you hear what I hear? Do you hear what I hear?
come out and join us for the Season 3 Sports for Beginners Christmas Party Finale this December on Sports for Beginners. We'll talk about everything from our top 10 episodes, our podcast wrap up, a little bit of sports talk mixed in. Plus, I would love to know what your favorite holiday traditions are. So come on out and join us. Come on out and join us. Actually, better than that, come spend the holidays with us here on Sports for Beginners. It's certainly going to be a great show. That's Sports for Beginners Season 3 Finale Christmas Party Extravaganza coming this December on Sports for Beginners. It will be a pre-recorded program, so make sure you tune in. And if you'd like to be involved, send an email to sportsforbeginners podcast8231@gmail.com. Happy holidays, everybody! From all of us here at Sports for Beginners.
The Dolphins 34, the New England Patriots 15. The Dolphins sweep the New England Patriots 2-0, beating the Patriots 15-10 at Foxborough on week number 5 of the NFL season this year. And then in week 12, they pick up a victory against the Patriots again this Sunday, November 24th, 2024, in 32-15. 34-15. The attendance record coming up in just a mere moments from now. We're going to get into our game balls of the game, but first, with the season winding down, let's get a look at what's next for the Patriots and what's next for the Miami Dolphins. We'll start with the Miami Dolphins. It's a short week for them this week as they'll have a matchup Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers. It'll mark as the final Thursday night football match for the Miami Dolphins this Thursday as part of a Thursday night triple hitter as far as the American Thanksgiving NFL games are concerned, as they'll follow a 12:30 Eastern time game against the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. That game scheduled to go at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. And it's a 4:30 p.m. Eastern time game against the Dallas Cowboys with the New York Giants to kick off week number 13. So a short week for those teams as they'll be part of a triple hitter Thursday night football action. It all gets started at 12:30 in the afternoon, and it all kicks off to wrap up with the Packers in Lambeau Field between the Miami Dolphins and the Green Bay Packers. After the short week with the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field for the Miami Dolphins Thursday night, this Thursday, November 28th, 2024, they'll have their first of two matchups between the New York Jets and, of course, the Miami Dolphins at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Then they'll have a 1 p.m. Eastern Time road game against the Houston Texans in week number 15 before having their home game season finale against the 49ers on Sunday, December 22nd, 2024. And I believe those are December 8th and December 15th when the Texans and the Jets will be the topic of conversation for the Miami Dolphins, which are the next teams following the short week November 28th against the Green Bay Packers. Next week on Thursday Night Football at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's going to be a good one to go through. Last game we'll look at is the game just before the Jets, and that's the Cleveland Browns Sunday Night Football, December 29th at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. December 29th at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Right now it's the Cleveland Browns against the Miami Dolphins on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Can they beat the Cleveland Browns? We'll see. But that's what you can expect there. On the Patriots side of things, actually, we'll get into game balls of the game for both teams before we get to the Patriots. We do have some updates to bring to you as the games are going final, as we do see the clocks winding down in the 4 o'clock slate. One game that we did not talk about earlier in the game was the Detroit Lions beating the Indianapolis Colts 24-6. And then I believe that is it. We do have a minute 56 to go in the game. That is now 29-19. The Las Vegas Raiders over the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos holding on to a 29-19 point game. The Seattle Seahawks still leading the Arizona Cardinals. It looks like the Arizona Cardinals are going to lose this game 16-6 with a minute 56 to go in the fourth quarter. The Green Bay Packers have added to their lead since the 49ers got 10. It is now 38-10 in favor of the Green Bay Packers. Right now, due to time constraints, we're only going to pick 2 game balls of the game. One is a game ball of the game, and the other is just a pick-me-up for both the Patriots and the Miami Dolphins is games as well. For me, today's game ball of the game, or rather tonight's game ball of the game, goes to Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa with 29 completion attempts out of 40 attempts on the pass, an average total yards of 7.9 yards per pass or carry, 4 touchdowns, including 2 sacks, and 317 yards. 317 yards for him. Hey, not too bad, Tua, not too bad. That's a great job by you, buddy, today. Not too bad, buddy, not too bad. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. Did see some perfections with Jalen Waddle. I did see some perfections with Jalen Waddle. 9 targets, 8 receptions, 144 yards, 18 yards a carry, 0.0 yards a carry, a touchdown, 29 yards being his longest. Great job, Jalen Waddle, or as we call him in Miami, the Penguin. So great job by you, Jalen Waddle. Great job by you. Great job by you, buddy. Great job. Great job. You could also look at a guy like the kicker from the Miami Dolphins here, 2 for 2 on the field goals, a perfect 4 for 4 on the extra points. Never missed a single field goal, never missed an extra point. It was a 51-yarder. That was his longest kick yards. I think Iguodala could do a little. Iguodala could do better. I do think Emmanuel Iguodala could do better in this game. He has had a bit of an up and down season. I do think he could do a little bit more better as an offensive linebacker. I do think he could do better there. In the season so far, he's had 3.5 sacks, 28 tackles in this game. I do think he could do a little bit more better there. He did get at least 2 tackles in this game, but had like 0.5 sacks in this game. So it wasn't like he got any sacks in this game. So I mean, I do think you could have did better, Emmanuel Iguodala. I think you could have did better. And again, I apologize in advance if I'm not getting the names right. I do apologize. When you look at the Patriots, I think you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, if you look at a guy like Antonio Gibson, I mean, this guy was pretty good. Yeah, he doesn't get a touchdown, but he does make on 6 attempts 31 yards for an average yards per carry of 5.2 yards a carry and 14 being his longest yardage. I do think that's a good enough game for a game ball of the game for me. But the real game ball of the game for me goes to none other than one of the guys that was a part of the touchdown in Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper, really good job by you. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 59 yards, 14.8 yards a carry, a touchdown, and 38 yards being your longest, man. That's a great job by you. And another pick me up here we can give is kind of to Drake Maye. I mean, we could give some credit to their backup quarterback in Kendrick Bourne, which was a wide receiver. We could give some knowledge to Kendrick Bourne or Kendrick B. But Drake Maye, I mean, 22 completed passes out of 37 attempts, 222 yards, 6 yards average carry, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, gets sacked for 39 yards 4 times. I mean, this wasn't your game, Patriots. Maybe next week's your game. But let's figure out where that's going. That wraps up the game balls of the game for Dolphins post game. Another terrific Dolphins post game of game balls comes to an end. Their next matchup before the bye week for the Patriots, which is according to us going to be the next week, which will be the 14th week of the season, will be the Indianapolis Colts on December 1st, week number 13 of the season, Sunday, December 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. In Foxborough, they'll host the Indianapolis Colts at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time in Foxborough. That's going to be a good one. Then they'll have the week off on week number 14, hoping to have some measure of note of where their fate lies in the playoff race, or rather, if they're in the hunt or not, even if they could be eliminated. And then after that, it's back to work on week 15 when they'll open up a match against the Arizona Cardinals at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time the next week, which will be the 15th week on December 15th, Sunday, December 15th, which will be the next match for them on week number 15th of the season. It'll be a Sunday game, and it'll be a 4:25 match for them on Sunday at the Arizona Cardinals. So hit Highmark Stadium and the Buffalo Bills and the Bills Mafia for Patriots Week in Buffalo on Sunday, December 22nd, 2024. The start time, it's a 1 o'clock p.m. start. 1 o'clock p.m. start in Buffalo at Highmark Stadium on week 16 of the season. And it's a pick and choose between the final 2-week matchups between the Buffalo Bills in Foxborough when Foxborough hosts the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, this January 5th, I should say, January the 5th. That will be when the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots meet one last time this season. It'll be the Buffalo Bills taking on the Patriots in week number 18 of the season. And that'll be the last game they have. And we'll have a matchup before that on December 29th, just before the new year, with the Los Angeles Chargers hosting in Foxborough. We'll have a Foxborough match with the Chargers, and the Foxborough season finale will be with the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be a great one. So back-to-back Buffalo Bills games after a match against the Chargers, and before that, a match with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. There's not much more football to get going on this NFL season because we are getting down to the wire. We are in week 12, ladies and gentlemen, and we are only 6 weeks away from the postseason. and the Patriots, or rather the Dolphins, find a way into the postseason and surprise the NFL? We'll see what happens. The clock is ticking, though, so we will see what happens. Game updates coming into us as we were getting into what's next for the Dolphins and what's next for the Patriots. As the Broncos come out on top, they are now 6-5 on the season, with the Raiders becoming 2-8 on the season. 29-19 is your final in favor of the Denver Broncos. We also have a final before the Green Bay Packers, when the Green Bay Packers game went out, and that will be a 38-10 final in favor of the Green Bay Packers. They beat the San Francisco 49ers, and it is without question that we have a 6-5 Arizona Cardinals and a now 6-5 Seattle Seahawks team, as those teams are tied at 6-5 in their records heading into week 13 with a final score of 16-6 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. The Sunday afternoon action has come to a close, and just about the top of the hour at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, rather 20 minutes after 8 p.m., we've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers going head-to-head on Sunday Night Football. That game's coming up in just a matter of moments from now on NBC. 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time is the time of the kickoff. But before that can happen, we got a vamoose out here of Dolphins Post Game. We'll get you into our keys to victory after a 30-second timeout, and we'll wrap up the program with Dolphins football on the other side. Everything has been talked about here on Dolphins football for the Patriots and the Dolphins. We'll get you set up for the people on the bye week next in 30 seconds, just to wrap up the program with the attendance record and my keys to victory for a Baltimore Ravens or a LA Rams or Philadelphia Eagles is win or loss. But you know what? We'll also talk about the Monday night matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Chargers if there's time. Dolphins football continues on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches, wrapping up next in 30 seconds. Back at 30 seconds. The Cincinnati Bengals are on a bye week this week, but they are back at it again next week against the Steelers of the Steel City. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers hoping to get right after losing a snowy one in Cleveland, Ohio, 24-19 this week on Thursday Night Football. Next week, December 1st, on Sunday, they face a snowy one probably against the Cincinnati Bengals in Acrisure Stadium at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on December 1st. Oh my goodness, it's almost December already? And time sure flies when you're having fun on the NFL. They'll have a match after the Steelers against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. In Dallas. They'll have a matchup against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. And of course, bit of a reminder there. It's actually going to be Paycor Stadium. Paycor Stadium is going to be the next match for the Bengals and the Steelers. It's going to be Paycor Stadium against the Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Then they're going to go to AT&T Stadium against the Dallas Cowboys the Monday night to wrap up the 14th week of the season at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. They'll have a match against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday, December 15th against the Tennessee Titans at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. To wrap it up, they'll have a match against the Cleveland Browns at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Week 16 before Week 17 and Week 18's matchup against the Steelers and the Denver Broncos plays out live with the Cincinnati Bengals, both week 17 and the final week of the season, the 18th week of the season, in which the Bengals will play the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steel City in Pittsburgh to wrap it up. They'll wrap it up in Pittsburgh at Acrisure Stadium against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've already mentioned that the Buffalo Bills will be playing the Patriots in the coming weeks, but now with a bye week out of the way, they're hoping for a match against the San Francisco 49ers to go their way after one team for the Buffalo Bills to keep their AFC East title lead or AFC Conference lead has left the door open for the Buffalo Bills to kind of pull this one in to their finale, but they'll have to do so Sunday night against the 49ers. They can probably close this one out if the following scenarios happen. We'll get into those scenarios before we wrap up the show. But before we get into the scenarios, you just need to know that just before we face the Patriots with the Buffalo Bills Post Game features two other matchups at 4:25 Eastern Time between the LA Rams on Sunday, December 8th, and on Sunday, December 15th, against the Detroit Lions. So it's off the SoFi Stadium for the Buffalo Bills against the LA Rams at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, December the 8th. Then take a load off and let's go to Michigan and have a Detroit Lions and Buffalo Bills matchup on Sunday, December 15th, 2024 at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, that makes sense. December 5th, 2024. December 15th, 2024. And it's week number 15. Hey, that looks like a great idea. And then it's the moment we've all been waiting for, Bills Mafia. It's the Patriots versus the Bills at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, well, the Jets have played the Dolphins the first week of their wraparound, and they wrap up with the Jets. While the Miami Dolphins are having their eyes focused on the Chargers, it's the Jets' turn to have their focus on the Buffalo Bills before the Patriots come back to face the Buffalo Bills to wrap up the season this year. So that's going to be a fun finale for the Buffalo Bills. What's next for the Falcons since they're on the bye week? Well, besides the Commanders and the Panthers being the wraparound of that season on week 18 and week 17, we'll have a matchup at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, December 22nd, against the New York Giants at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, December 22nd. But before that, they have a Monday Night Football match between the Las Vegas Raiders at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And they'll have the Minnesota Vikings upcoming after next week's opponent in the Los Angeles Chargers as they host the Los Angeles Chargers at 1 p.m. Eastern Time next Sunday, week number 13th of the season, hoping for a victory lap there to be cheering about, and then another victory lap after that against the Vikings at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on December the 8th. And as mentioned, they'll wrap up their season with the Washington Commanders and the Carolina Panthers in week 17, December 29th, and January 5th, 2025, against the Panthers at home. The Jaguars, we're going to make it a little bit brief. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, the season is pretty much as it stands here. They'll finish off the season with the Tennessee Titans in both 1 o'clock starts after they face the Houston Texans one final time, because they did face them earlier this season, ended up losing to them 24-20 in favor of the Texans. So they're hoping to get right against the Texans next Sunday, December 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. But after that, they're hoping to also remain right against the Tennessee Titans at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and keep right against the New York Jets at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in both Week 14 and Week 15 of the season, with the Las Vegas Raiders being a 4:25 start on the 16th week of the season. And we'll have a match for you at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Tennessee Titans and the Jaguars at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Week 17. So that match has been determined. It will be the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1 p.m. Eastern Time before the Indianapolis Colts wrap up a season with the Jaguars, in which the Jaguars are hoping to sweep the Indianapolis Colts this thing after beating them 37-34 back on week 5 of the season. Half of the Jets' schedule after the bye week that they had this week is pretty much already been said. So let's just focus on the matchups that we didn't already focus on when we were talking about the Jets. And those are 1 o'clock starts against the LA Rams on December 22nd in week 16. We'll have a 1 o'clock start against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But next week, it's a 1 o'clock start against the Seattle Seahawks on December 1st. And then it's a battle between the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium first, and then in New York to wrap up the season before they have a match with the Buffalo Bills on week 17 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That match has now been determined. It will be a 1 o'clock start time for the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. That's going to be a good match to be determined. And speaking of being determined, I think we'll have matchup times for the Bills and the Dolphins' final Week 18 games, which are in January 5th, as well as all the other games, in just a matter of weeks from now, as we are in the 12th week of the season. But they'll wrap it up with the Hawks, the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Rams, and of course the Bills in both 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18 week of the season, the final week of the season, which is January 5th, 2025. To make the Saints brief here, and all you need to know is that before they face the Buccaneers, they'll have a 1 o'clock start against the Las Vegas Raiders on week 17 of the season. They'll have a 1 o'clock start against the Washington Commanders in week 15 of the season. They'll have a match between the New York Giants at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern as well on next week's match between the week number 14th. And they'll have a 4:05 start next week against the LA Rams at 4:05, 5 minutes after 5 o'clock. They'll have a matchup between the Rams and the Saints. They'll host the Rams at home at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. And they'll finish things off on Monday night with the Green Bay Packers in Week 16 at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time before they get ready to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday, January 5th, 2025. We'll see what happens there, but that is it for us on Dolphins Post Game. All right, we've got you ready for the next topic of conversation. That is going to be the Miami Dolphins and the Green Bay Packers Thursday Night Football edition is on the air for week number 13 of the season. We will have you for a Friday edition of Dolphins Postgame here on Sports for Beginners, but you may catch it on Saturday ahead of the Saturday action for you on December 1st. Maybe you will catch it on Sunday on the ice and behind the benches. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep you posted for that action. I got to get set for some Maple Leaf Post recaps, but I've always enjoyed doing Dolphins postgame here on Sports for Beginners, and I appreciate you all being here very, very much. So with that being said, let's take a look at the playoff race as we have run out of time to get the Keys to victory for Sunday Night Football's games out. We are just in the end of the show right here, folks. We're at the end of the show, and I am so sorry we could not get to the keys to victory. But here's how it looks right now, okay? Here's how it looks right now as we get into our attendance record and proceed to wrap up the show for Dolphins football. It is the Kansas City Chiefs 10-1 on the season with the bye week, the automatic bye right now. We have the Buffalo Bills 9-2 on the season as the second seed. They'll probably be facing the Denver Broncos, who are currently in the 7th seed and in the playoff right now. The Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers will be facing each other as the 6th and 3rd seed with records right now of 7-4 and 8-3 on the season. 7-4 to the Baltimore Ravens, 8-3 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the final matchup in the AFC will be the Houston Texans right now, 7-5 on their record versus a 7-3 Chargers team. But anything can change for the 7-3 Chargers team as they are currently in the 5th seed right now of the AFC. The bye week for the automatic bye goes to the Detroit Lions, I should say. The Detroit Lions have the automatic bye in the NFC, and will have people that are willing to take that bye away from them in the Philadelphia Eagles, currently at a record of 8-2 on the season, with the Washington Commanders 7-5 being the 7th seed, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2nd seed. And the Arizona Cardinals, right now they're in the playoffs with the Green Bay Packers as well in the playoffs at a record of 7-3, and a record for the Arizona Cardinals right now at 6-4 on the season. We'll have the Atlanta Falcons at 4-5, the 4th seed versus the 5th seed, which will be the Vikings at 9-2 on the season. And we'll have the Atlanta Falcons at 6-5 in the 4th seed as the NFC picture pertains right now. So we're getting ready for Maple Leaf Post recap on the ice and behind the benches. Who knows? You might be having some Penguins hockey coming up your way on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Unfortunately, we're out of time to get you ready for Sunday Night Football's match. But if I could describe the Patriots series with the Miami Dolphins, I would say that this series was quite entertaining for one fan base, while the rest of them, it was entertaining one week, and then it just turned into a bad case of bad apples. And when I say bad apples, I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can. So I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean the Patriots didn't show up until literally it was almost too late or too little too late to get going in the game. The referee, of course, Alan Eck. Alan Eck was the referee in Hard Rock Stadium in front of an attendance record of which the Miami Dolphins swept the Patriots 34-15 in this game. Their records, of course, speak for themselves. We'll get to those records in just a few minutes. 65,479 fans in attendance was the attendance record. 65,479 fans in attendance was the attendance record for this game. All right, the Miami Dolphins look toward Green Bay Packers on the American Thanksgiving Thursday Night Football conclusion. For the Patriots, it's just another regular week until their Sunday match against the Indianapolis Colts in week 13, and then it's a bye week. They get a bye week on the 14th week of the season. Go Patriots, go Dolphins. Thank you as always for tuning in to another classic edition of Club Dub here on the Miami Dolphins post-game show. My name is Thomas McGregor, and for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Thomas McGregor. I know I said that already, And I will reiterate that as well. The Dolphins beat the Patriots 34-15. Next for the Patriots is the Colts. Next for the Dolphins, and the next post-game show for us is the Green Bay Packers. Until that time, fins up, Dolphins Nation. Let's keep those good vibes going, and let's keep winning those games. And because we may have a shot at becoming postseason contenders, we'll see what happens the rest of the way for the Dolphins and the Patriots. But the clock is ticking. 6 weeks in the books for these teams. Here come 5 weeks, but the clock is ticking. Week number 13 next Sunday and next Thursday for the Dolphins. I am Thomas McGregor. Have a great week, everyone, and I look forward to catching up with you again after the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins game. Fins up, Dolphins Nation. I'm out. Peace. Enjoy your victory Monday. Enjoy the week, and happy American Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners in America. I'm out. Peace. Closing message. Take us out of here, please.
Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.